Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday live stream where we do a 20-question mock test. Answer your questions as we go along. Any questions you may have about your theory, studying, best way to pass it, and driving test questions as well. Feel free to pop the question into the comment section. Just turn that down. And put a Q semicolon, just makes it a lot easier for me to find it as we go along. So hopefully you guys are well. Let me just finish setting up my windows. And it's been a wet week this week, but hopefully you stayed dried enough and enjoyed whatever you was doing, stayed safe. So as I said, we're going to do a 20-question mock test. Answer any questions we go along. So if you feel like you've got any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. What I'm going to do is a quick overview of the theory test, because I get a lot of got a lot of new viewers, and the amount of emails I still get every single week, which is really weird. How someone's got a test coming up but they don't know how it works. They've studied, they don't know how it works. It really surprises me that you're booking a theory test to go and pass it and you have no idea how the structure works or what it's out of and all the rest of it. I just think that's really careless, to be honest. You guys have got to remember, when you're doing your theory training, it's related to your driving as well. If you're going to cut corners with your theory training, to be honest, you're looking to cut corners with your driving lessons, which gives you the worst possible chance of passing your driving test first time, especially with the waiting list as long as it is 4 to 6 months in most areas. The last thing you want to do is go for a driving test and fail it, and then you got to wait another 4 to 6 months. As much as you got 2 years on your theory, once you pass it, 2 years can go pretty quickly. Life gets in the way. You may not learn driving as quickly as you thought you would have learned it, so when that's time lost as well, plus the waiting time. If you don't pass first time, you've got another 4 to 6 months to wait for another one, and before you know it, you're 18 months into your theory test. The last thing you want to do is pass the theory test and then not having to wait, but 2 years passes, now you've got to take it again, which means you got to restudy and you're learning new stuff because the theory test gets updated every 2 years as well. So if you can pass it and then go on to pass your driving test quick time, I would suggest you do that. So just drinking my tea because of the late morning this morning. All right, so let me just say hello to some of you guys first. Let me change this to this, and Faith is here. Good morning to you. Pope Creations. I don't think I've seen your name before. I think I've seen your avatar before, but can't remember. But anyway, welcome. Good morning. Took my exam on Friday and I failed 40 out of 50. I thought you had to test 10 questions wrong. You got data. Anyone that fails, I always say to them, you got data now. So what you want to do is look at the categories you got the questions wrong. But I'll be honest with you, if you got 10 questions wrong on the day, it's still going to be a lack of understanding regardless of, because 10 questions would suggest you got at least 6 categories wrong, questions wrong in 6 categories, which is a lot for a test. So I would suggest, without knowing you, it's still going to be a lack of understanding. You need to bring that up to have a better chance of passing next time round. But I wish you luck with that. If you've got any questions, because you've been there, taken it, if you can remember any questions that you think, I wasn't quite sure on, drop them in the comment section. This is the bit where I can actually help you out and get the understanding, because the real test is written differently from the app questions. So if you want to share your experience, let people know how it went for you on the day, type of questions you got, feel free to share that because it does help other people. Stacey Brown, good morning to you. I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome. It's like a new watcher or silent watcher is breaking the silence. Danelle, I think. Morning pass for yesterday, Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday, yeah. By 1 mark 2 weeks ago. I had it yesterday, got 43 and 56 as perception to driving lessons now. Congratulations on passing, by the way. Yeah, congratulations on passing. Failed it by 1 mark. So you got 42. And so you got the one that you needed to pass it. Dangerous situation, but you passed it. Let's just give you credit where it's due. Well done for passing on that one. And good luck with the driving. I see 56 has a perception. Decent score. Well done. Thank you for letting me know, by the way. Appreciate that. As a Frank, good morning. Welcome. It's nice to see you're back again. Andrew, good morning. I'm back after taking a mini break. Hopefully the mini break was good for you. Rebecca. That's what the channel's about. It's trying to give you the understanding, because a lot of people, again, this is going back teaching people over 10 years. People aren't failing because they don't know the stuff. They're failing because they don't understand it. And knowing it and understanding is two different things, because you can know the app inside out, but when they reword it differently on a real test, the understanding is not there, which does lead to failure. So that's what the channel's about, Rebecca. So hopefully when you take your test, all goes well. Miriam, good morning to you. Oh, Pamela. Pass your theory. First time as well. Congratulations on passing. Thank you for coming to the live stream to let me know that you've done that. 45. I don't know if that's 45 out of 50 or 45 for the questions and 50 for the hazard perception, but either way, well done for passing. Also took a break from my driving lessons to focus on my theory, because I'm good with the driving, but failed my theory. We go again. I'm assuming that's the conversation you had with your instructor. I'm gonna comment, trying to fight it, but I would never take a break or get my students to take a break from driving lessons unless they was really, really amazing. The reason being because when you take a break from driving, you do go rusty. It's a skill. If you don't use it, you lose it. But like I said, that's a conversation I'm assuming that you've had with your instructor, and I don't know how good is good. So hopefully you don't lose much with the driving side of it. Because the driving helps the theory helps the driving, just reinforces it, because you're using road signs when you're driving, you're using rules of the road when you're driving, you're seeing the lines on the road, so you're understanding the theory in real life, so it reinforces it. But as I said, you would have had that conversation with your instructor, and they know you better than I know you, so hopefully you took their advice and gone with it. But I wish you luck with your theory the next time around when it comes up. Again, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Let's get you passed so you can get onto your driving test. Francis, long time. How are you? Hopefully life's treating you well. How's the driving going? Because now you passed your theory test with me. You haven't kept me up to date with your driving. How's that going? Messi, good morning to you. I've not seen your name before, definitely. So welcome. Got my test in 2 days. What do you recommend to do now? I've been practicing questions and mock tests. What else would you recommend? Cheers. Let's read that again. The question I would ask, as silly as it sounds, are you passing mock tests? Just because you're passing mock test doesn't mean say you're gonna pass the real test. Let me just add that in. But are you passing mock tests consistently? If the answer is yes, then what I suggest you do with 2 days to go, I'm assuming when you say 2 days, it's next week. Let's just keep it that way, keep it simple. What I would do at some point is do a full mock test, do 50 questions, and literally straight afterwards go straight into a hazard perception. So you're training the brain to be mentally strong on the day. What most people tend to do is 50 questions, mock test, and then leave it there, and then at some point do a hazard perception separately. You now want to combine the two as a real test. Make sure when you do that, reserve the time to do it. Don't sort of do it when you've got a 15-20 minute spare so you're rushing through it. reserve an hour 20 minutes. Not that you're going to take an hour 20 minutes, because the real test is an hour 20 minutes. So make sure you've got an hour 20 minutes to spare, and do it in a test environment. So lock yourself in a room, no family, no TV, no music, and treat it like a realistic event. So the brain starts to get used to the silence and all the rest of it. That's what I will start to do now. Just step up the mock tests with the hazard perception side by side. If you're not hitting 50 out of 50 on your mock test, what you want to be doing now is revisiting the questions you got wrong. That's important, because you need to understand why you're getting those questions wrong, and that should take you up to where you need to be for your test day. On test day, take it easy, don't rush, take deep breaths. I would arrive early. You're supposed to be there 15 minutes before the test. I would get there about half an hour, 45 minutes beforehand. So you're not rushing. I don't know how close you are to the test now, but you don't want to be rushing, stressing, all the rest of it. When you arrive, let's just say for argument's sake, you arrived half an hour early. Don't sit outside pacing up and down to 15 minutes before the test and then go in. As soon as you arrive, go in and say, look, I'm here for my test. My test is at, I'm half an hour early, 45 minutes early. If they've got space, they will get you in, because nobody takes the full hour 20 minutes. So if they've got a vacancy, they will get you in. It's weird how they let you in early, but if you're late, they don't let you in, which is strange. But anyway, yeah, just don't that's what I'm trying to thought. Yeah, don't sit outside pacing up and down, especially doing mock tests. You do not want to be doing mock tests before your real test, because if the results don't go according to plan, let's just say you failed the mock test, you're going to start doubting yourself. If you don't know it on the day of the test, you ain't going to know it by doing more app questions. So yeah, just do that nice and early. Go in nice and early, take deep breaths. You can't take water in there, so make sure you are hydrated before you go in, and just literally take your time, take deep breaths as you're taking it. So I wish you luck with that. Come back, it's 2 days time, so come back next week, let us know how you got on. If you've got any other questions while we're here, type it in. Let's make sure you pass this test. And Lawrence, thank you, Dora, for your consultation. 49, missed it by 1. The magical 50 and 54 has perception. First attempt, well done to you. Congratulations. And thank you for coming to the live and let me know how you got on. Appreciate that. I'm glad with your video. And it really helped me. Video. Are you talking about one in particular or all of them? Please, I'm still confused with motorway. I can't help you because you just said you're confused with motorway. What are you confused with about motorways? You need to give me a bit more detail so I can help you out if possible. You can't just say to me I'm confused with motorway. Motorway is a big topic. Francis. That's fine, because I know you had issues with the theory side of it anyway. So the main thing is you passed the theory, so that pressure's off. Just be careful when you say you're taking your time with the driving lessons, because like I said, before you know it, 2 years could be up. You don't want to go back to square one and having to redo that. Not only that, like I said earlier on, the waiting time is 4 to 6 months in most areas. So you have to factor that in as well, but you have to do what you have to do to get you through it. Marcel, good morning to you. Long time no see, Marcel. Samuel, good morning to you. Messi, no problem, you are welcome. I've been watching you some time. Stacy, yeah, Google AI. What you guys don't do is when you're struggling with a word, you guess. The problem with guessing is you may guess right, you may guess wrong, but you still guess. It doesn't make a difference what the outcome is. Because when you go for the real test, the word comes up as differently, worded differently. You're guessing again. You don't want to be guessing where possible. So what I would suggest you do is type in the word into Google AI, ask for an explanation, and hopefully they explain it in simple terms. What you can do as well, if you're from a different culture, I'm assuming in different language as well, type it in and ask them to, especially if it's AI, ask them to explain in your language so it gives you a better understanding. There's nothing wrong with that. Remember, when you're at home studying, you can use any materials that you like. It's not cheating. You can't do that on the real day, obviously, but it's whatever you do at home for you to get that knowledge. It's not cheating, it's research. And that's what you guys are missing sometimes. You guys just got the app, books, whatever it is, and you think that is it. Do a bit more. Go into Google, AI. I don't understand what this word means. And then hopefully can give you an explanation. That's the best way of doing it. Just on this type of question, my theory is 16th, but I'm starting to take driving tests. Please do you... I don't understand that question. Unless I've missed something beforehand. Sorry, I don't understand that. You said just on this type of question. What's this type of question? My theory is the 16th. I'm assuming you mean 16th of this month, which is Monday week. Am I right? No, it's not. Tuesday. I'm starting to take a driving test. You mean driving lessons? Please do you think driving lessons with the theory is fine. That's what I would recommend. If you can do driving lessons alongside the theory, I would always recommend that, because it both go hand in hand. It's going to reinforce each other. But I'm not understanding what you mean by just on this type of question. If you want to shed some more light on that, I can help you out. I had my test, Lady Depps. Had my theory on Monday, just gone past first. Well done to you, congratulations. 48 out of 50, missed it by 2. And 63 has a perception, which is a high score. So if you can hear the noise in the background, it's my dog going crazy. Congratulations on passing. Come on, dog's on. Hold on, sorry. Congratulations on passing. By the way, thank you for coming to let me know. Hopefully you move on to your driving lessons now, if you haven't done it already. Good morning to you and welcome. Another question: what is the time space to start HP after MCQ? I can't recall how it works. Another question: what is the time space to start? There isn't. You do it how you want. Everyone's different. You do what you need to do. I wouldn't do both together at the same time. I would focus on questions first, get that score a decent level, or go through the categories is what I would suggest, is do the individual categories, so 14 of them. And then once my questions are up to speed, and when I mean by up to speed, you're passing consistently with that, then I would go on to has perception. The reason why I'd do it that way, and like I said, there's no set way, there's no right or wrong. If you want to do both together, if you want to do has perception first, then go on to questions, it doesn't make a difference, because they have to be done at some point. But the reason why I say focus on the questions, because you don't know what 50 questions you're going to get. And as I said before, the questions will be worded differently. Some questions that you have never seen before. Once you know what a hazard is, it's the same for every video, it's just a different hazard. A hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. So when you watch a video, you're just looking for what's going to cause me to slow down or change direction. It doesn't change. So on one video, it could be a pedestrian. On another video, it could be a car. Another video, it could be a road sign. Another video could be, I think there's sheep in the road ones they've got on a real test. But either one of those is going to cause you to slow down or change direction. You click. That's never going to change. But the questions will change. So it doesn't make a difference how you want to structure it. I just wouldn't do hazard perception and questions one after the other. Similar to, I forgot who I did it with now. I think it was Messi, where I said a couple of days, the week of your test, you want to do them together to train the brain to be mentally strong, to do questions and hazard perception. But as in studying, when you haven't got a test date coming up, I'll do them individually. Questions, just that alone. And then if you're going to do hazard perception, just that alone. It's only when you get to the week of the test, you want to combine the two so the brain is mentally strong to go for an hour, 20 minutes, because that's what it is for the real test. So hopefully that helps you out. But yeah, there's no right or wrong. Do what works for you. I did actually be booking my driving test for the level amount of driving I'm doing because I yet to pass my first. I'm already taking a very small break to focus more. That's fine. Like I said, you would have hopefully had that discussion with your instructor. They know you better than I do. So that's fine. Let's just get your ferry done and dusted so you can just book a driving test. I passed last month. Your videos help. Congratulations on passing, by the way. I've not seen your name before, so welcome to the channel first. Or welcome to the live stream. But congratulations on passing. I'll start my practical in June 27. My advice to others would be repetition. That's worked for you when you say repetition. And the reason why I'm saying it's worked for you, not everybody can do repetition. Repetition can sometimes lead to memorizing. Repetition doesn't mean to say it's a good thing. That's the reason why I'm saying that. What you guys got on this, let me try to explain this in simple terms. When you're studying, there is studying and there is studying. The difference is studying is that you are using apps, books, whatever it is, and you're doing it, let's just call it half an hour every single day. Just because you're doing the apps, books, whatever it is, half an hour every single day, it doesn't mean to say you are learning. Now, studying is understanding. So even if you studied every other day, twice a week, as long as the 2 times a week you are studying, you are understanding the stuff you are learning, that is better than studying every day. Because so you got to be careful with when you say studying repetition. Just because you're doing it day after day, day after day, it doesn't mean to say you're taking the information in. It's about understanding, and it's the only way forward. And I used this example before in the videos. If I turn around and say to you 2 + 2 is 4, that's, you've learned something. But understanding is understanding 3 + 1 is 4. 4 + 0 is 4. That's understanding. But if you do repetition, 2 + 2, 2 + 2, 2 + 2, and that's all you know. So when they word it differently on the day, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals, and you're like, oh, I've never seen that before. But the understanding knows it's still 4. That's the difference. And some of you, again, that confused with, I use your words repetition, or I'm studying every single day. Studying every single day doesn't mean to say it's quality. That's the difference. So hopefully that makes sense. I've got to try and find where I am now. I mean, when you were talking about driving lessons, yeah, all I'm saying with driving lessons, if you can take it while you're studying the theory side of it, it helps. That's all it is. I'm not saying, just don't get me wrong, there's thousands of people who pass without taking driving lessons. But it just helps. And not only that, if you know that's your next goal as in pass the theory test, and you're going to get onto the driving pretty much straight afterwards, why not do it now? So you're saving time. So if it takes you 3 months to pass the theory test, you've got 3 months of driving lessons behind you, rather than 3 months of studying for the theory test, and now you start, once you pass the theory test, you're starting from scratch with the driving. All I'm saying, it goes hand in hand. It's going to help you pass, and then you're X amount of months down the line with your driving, which technically means once you pass the theory test, you literally start looking for that driving test. But if you haven't taken driving lessons, once you pass the theory test, you can't go looking for a driving test because you're nowhere near ready for it. It saves time. But either way, it doesn't, again, there's no right or wrong. I'm just saying it just helps knowing that you're using that information. So if you struggle with road signs, for example, you're going to be using that information when you're driving on your lesson, because you're going to see road signs. You have to see road signs. You have to see road markings. You learn the rules of the road, who's got priority. And you can use that type of knowledge from your theory. You can say, right, you know what, on my driving lessons, I know what these lines mean, 'cause I've seen it before. I know what circles mean. I know what blue circles mean, that type of thing. That's a good point, and it's true. You are going to be nervous, that's fact. So there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to be nervous when you take so you passed your theory test now. So think about how you felt with your theory test. You was nervous. You've done all the studying that was in your hands. You've done all the studying, but you still felt nervous when you walked through those doors. Even when before you got the result, walking out, and correct me if I'm wrong, and you was turning it over to look, and you was still nervous to see if you passed it or not. That's the driving test right there. It's the same thing. The driving test is still in your hands. You're still going to go over there and do what you need to do to pass it. So you are going to be nervous. Any of my students who I take for a driving test turns around and says to me on the day that, or leading up to it, I'm not going to be nervous. I don't get nervous, blah, blah, blah. It worries me because you need the nerves. The adrenaline keeps you calm. If you aren't nervous, there's a couple of reasons why, but the main reason, it doesn't mean much to you. And if it doesn't mean much to you, then the question is why you're doing it. So you are going to be nervous. Just don't let the nerves control you. And the examiner's just watching to keep you safe, because technically, if you are going to pass your driving test, he doesn't need to intervene. He's just watching just in case you mess up. Then he's going to keep you safe by going for the brake, grabbing the wheel, or verbally helping you out. So don't think of it that way, that someone's watching you. Just think about that. I know what I'm doing. I'm driving on my own, because that's what you're going to be doing once you pass your driving test. But nerves is natural. Matthew, yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. Hopefully you're well. No problem. I'm not very confident, struggling with a bit with roundabouts and bay parking. I'm not very confident and struggling with roundabouts. You've only had 13 hours. So if you're on roundabouts, so I'm assuming you're driving on the main roads after 13 hours, that's decent. How many pupils have I had over the years who's confident with roundabouts? I probably can count on two hands. And that's because they got a lot of driving experience from another country. Someone who was taught from nothing or very few hours always struggled roundabouts. But once you break it down in simple terms, it becomes easier. Bay parking, that's just practice. That's just practice. And again, it depends how you're taught with that. What I would suggest you do, Lady Debs, if you haven't seen it already, I've actually got a video out that came out Thursday. And it's to answer the question about roundabouts for the theory test. Watch that video, because I actually break down roundabouts in very simple terms with junctions. Because if you've got 13 hours of driving, that means you must have done left and right turns, junctions. And that video actually breaks the roundabouts in junction form. So that may help you understand roundabouts in very, very simple form. So I would suggest you jump on the channel and watch that roundabout video. That may help you. Bay parking, just watch a few videos from other channels. Clearview Driving School, I recommend. Francis, what's these channels called? Driving School TV, DGN. Just watch videos. You've been watching videos on passing the theory test. There's nothing wrong with watching videos on driving lessons. But I wish you luck with that. But be patient. 13 hours is nothing. So you are going to be nervous. You are going to struggle with stuff. Congratulations on passing the theory test. Well done to you. And welcome to the channel or live stream. Right. Let me do a quick overview and get you started, because that's why you guys are here. So as usual, just quick overview. Multiple choice, 50 questions, made up of 14 different categories. So you are going to get questions from all 14 categories. It's just made up differently. So there's 10 of you in the room. There's 10 different set of 50 questions for each of you. And that's the reason why I say study the categories individually, so your knowledge is strong across the board, because you don't know how your 50 questions are going to be made up. You need 43 out of 50. You have 57 minutes to do that in total. Then you move on to hazard perception. 14 videos, 13 of them have single hazards. A hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. That's what you're looking for. I will do a demonstration after the 20 question mock test to show you how to spot a hazard and how to beat the system with a 2-click method. on that. You need 44 out of 75 to pass that side of things. I will also add, because I had a couple of emails, you do need to pass both parts same day, same time. You can't pass questions, fail hazard perception, and go back and just do the hazard perception. You have to pass both parts. Where if you do fail the questions, which is the common reason why students fail the theory test, it's 50 different questions when you go back. What some of you are doing is just literally studying the categories. Dorian said study the categories. Study the categories is the foundation to building up the knowledge where you went wrong. It doesn't tell you the question you got wrong, it just tells you the categories. But for example, let's just say you got you got 4 questions wrong in motorways, because someone sent me the paperwork and that comes to mind. You failed 4 questions on the motorway. Just because you now studied the motorway question section, it doesn't mean you're going to pass the next time round, because you may only get 1 question on the motorway section the next time, and X amount more in a different category, which can highlight another weakness. So you have to pass both parts same day, same time. What you're looking for, if you don't know the answer, is common sense. Use some common sense. I use this as an example because it came up in the study camp. A person didn't know what the answer was. They chose the answer as a mobile phone. That's not common sense. You know you cannot use a mobile phone while you are driving. So why pick an answer that can never be correct? So use some common sense. But what they're really looking for overall is safety, in terms of answers, because your driving test is based on safety, and your driving test is also based on controlling the car. So that's what the theory test is. Safety and outcomes of any given situation is control. If you are struggling, I do run a 30-day study camp. As much as called 30 days, you stay in there as long as it takes for you to pass. Because I know some people do night shift that's in there, so they haven't got as much time to study as they would like. So once you get in, you stay in there as long as it takes until you pass. And we do live review sessions where I do one on Wednesdays and one on Sundays, which I got today at 1 o'clock. And I do a live session Monday to Thursday where I break down the categories in a bit more detail and give you a bit more insight into the real tests with what they could be asking. And all the videos are, all the sessions on Zoom, because it's a Zoom session, are saved, recorded, is a better way of putting it, are recorded and uploaded so you can watch it in your own time. And you can attend as many of those live sessions as it takes for you to pass. So you can attend every day, every week. Choice is yours. So let's move on to, and that's not working, so I don't know why that is going on. So let's just see something. Oh, that's blank. That's crazy. All right. So those of you that are new, this first question, question 1, hopefully you can see it there. What's the minimum time gap you should leave when following a vehicle on a wet road? If you think it's D, for example, please put question 1, then D beside it, because there's a delay between me and YouTube and you and YouTube. And hopefully you guys can still hear me and see me, because my screen has frozen. But it looks like I'm still going out live. So if there's an issue, please let me just double check the comments. There's nothing in the comments. So hopefully you guys can still hear me and see me, because my camera's just frozen in front of me. So please put question number 1. If you think it's D, put 1D. So whatever you think the answer is. So let me just do this first. I didn't do this. This is A for the newcomers. This is B. This is C. And this is D. It's going to be weird because I'm looking at a frozen camera. You guys are answering, so I'm assuming that you guys can still see me. Right. Let me say some of these comments. I can come back to it. Let me put this up first. Thank you, Andrew, for that. Appreciate it. Wishing everyone love, basically, as passing. Right, so here we are. One. Congratulations on passing, Matthew. Just from the live sessions as well. On Wednesday, well done to you. What are you doing next? Just out of interest, what are you doing now? Are you looking to do driving lessons? Are you taking driving lessons? Marissa, wow, it's a long time since I've seen you around. Hopefully you're well. Messi, I'm going to put that up because it's the first one, but please put the question number and letter of choice because there's a delay between me and YouTube and you and YouTube, so I want to make sure we're on the same page when I put the question number up. You guys have gone for A, for wet. What I will add as well is, for example, I said to you take driving lessons. Thank you for that, I appreciate it. When you take driving lessons or go for your driving test, you're using this knowledge. So if you're taking your driving test, let's for example, last week, because it was really wet, and the examiner takes you on a road of 40 miles an hour or more, faster road, he will judge you what type of gap you are leaving. So if you didn't know this, you could be driving a lot closer than you should be, which means you're going to get marked down for following distance on that green sheet, which I'll show you later on. And obviously if it's dry, faster road, it would be a 2-second gap. So that's what I'm saying, using the knowledge for your driving lessons or driving tests, depending how you have organised it. So this is number 2. What should you do if your anti-lock brake system ABS warning light stays on? I have a question concerning hazard videos. Hazard videos? No, because in real life you only get one go. If you knock somebody over, you can't rewind it back to avoid them. The hazard perception is designed for you to spot hazards and check your mirrors. That's what the click is for. In real life, you don't get a chance to replay that. So if you crash, you crash. You don't get a chance to replay that. So that's what the videos are for. So you get one go at the videos only. On the hazard, on your 50 questions, you get what we call a case study, which is question 48, 49 and 50. Those are videos, but they're case studies. They're not hazard perception videos. You can watch those videos as many times as you want within your 57 minutes. But the hazard perception videos, you get one go only. You do not get a chance to replay it back because it's simulated in real life. I repeat, it's for you to spot the hazards, check your mirror in real life. You don't get a chance to do that twice. Oh, that's brilliant. If you've been watching the videos, fine. But yeah, in the theory test video that I did with the roundabouts, it kind of just breaks the roundabouts down in simple form. Roundabouts are just junctions. So if you're not struggling on junctions as much, roundabouts is actually simpler because you just give way to the right. With junctions, you've got to look left and right before even coming out. Especially if it's crossroads, you're looking left, straight and right. With roundabouts, it's just the basic terms to start off with is give way to the right. So roundabouts is actually easier with junctions. That's how I explain to my students. It's just simple, give way to the right. And you still approach roundabouts like you do junctions 10 to 12 miles an hour. It doesn't change. Many roundabouts are junctions just being converted. But your brain sees it as roundabouts. When I say your brain, not just you, all learners say, oh my God, roundabouts, cars coming everywhere, blah, 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 don't know where to be, don't know when to go. You do. This is just junction form, simplified. Number 2. We've got a 2B here. No problem, you're welcome. Hey. You guys gone for A. Have a brake check. Yeah, if a light comes on and stays on, you want to get it checked as soon as possible. Someone for 2B. Check the parking brake is done. ABS has got nothing to do with the parking brake. And parking brake is an American term. We say handbrake. But this is what I'm saying about understanding. Parking brake and handbrake is the same thing. Just parking brake is an American term. Handbrake is a UK term. Number 3, you're in the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway. What do these overhead signs mean? Let me do your comments. Rita, thank you for coming to the live session. You're a silent member, so you've been here but been silent. Thank you for breaking the silence, by the way. Appreciate that. And you got 46 out of 50. Well done to you. And 65. That's a high score. Again, what are you going to do next? Are you looking to take driving lessons? Look to book a driving test? Sorry, this window. I've got to close it down and start again. Program. No, it won't let me shut it down. It's just really weird looking at myself frozen on that. Let me see if I do this. Oh, I can't even go in there. Okay. Yeah, so let me know what you're doing, Ria. Are you looking to take driving lessons or book a driving test because you've been taking lessons? 3, let's find 3. A. Yeah, 3A. When would you use the right-hand lane on a 3-lane motorway? Dolores, you've been here for a little while. I don't think I've seen you for a while. Am I getting you mixed up with somebody else? If it is you, welcome back. Driving lesson starting next week. It's got to be exciting. First lesson, you're going to be nervous, but try to stay calm. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're learning to drive. You are going to make mistakes. That's natural. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. And hopefully you get a calm instructor who encourages you to make mistakes as well. So, and again, that's another thing you guys do on your driving lessons. You always try not to make a mistake. That's a mistake in itself because it's not natural. We all make mistakes, especially when learning. When you make mistakes on your driving lessons, what you're trying to do is make sure they're not S's and D's, which is serious and dangerous because you can't pass with that. Because you are allowed to make mistakes on your driving test and still pass. If you didn't know, you're allowed to make 15 minors on your driving test. I always say to my students, if you're allowed 15 mistakes, then why are you trying to make none? Aiming too high, the bar's too high, which means you're going to get frustrated and upset with yourself when you make one mistake. You're learning to drive. Mistakes is natural. You learn more from the mistakes than you do getting things right as well. So yeah, hopefully that first lesson goes well for you. And yeah, just try to enjoy it, even though it's nerve-wracking. So I just saw a C here. Am I missing something? This is 3 C's. All right, that's what I'm going wrong. Right, we're on 4. Focus. I'm fine. How are you? It's been a long time. Working on your driving lessons. How's that going? 4C is what you guys gone for. Yeah, that's the difference between motorways and dual carriageways. Motorway, dual carriageway are the same thing effectively. Crash barrier in the middle, can do 70 miles an hour. on both of them. The difference is the right hand lane. Motorways only for overtaking, dual carriageways is overtaking and turning right. So that's the difference between the two. What will reduce fuel consumption? I don't know how true this is, but I heard Divi say we'll throw some questions that I haven't learned in the mock or practice questions out of the 774 or something. That's fact. That's what I've been saying all along. That's not a rumor, it's fact. All right, let me say this again. The app questions, regardless of what app you use, paid, unpaid, whatever they want to call themselves, in terms of ads, because there's a lot more coming out, are sampled questions. They are not the real questions. If you're paying for your app, it should be licensed by the DVSA. You have to use their questions. It has to be licensed. I'm licensed, so that's why I can use these stuff in my live stream without being copyrighted. So all the questions are pretty much the same from the DVSA. They can tweak it just to make it slightly different on the apps. But when you go for the real test, it is going to be worded slightly differently. And there will be questions you have never seen before because they don't give you the real questions. Because when they used to do that years and years ago, they used to do that. What people did was just memorize the question, memorize the answers, and the failure rate for the driving test went sky high. The accident rate after passing the driving test went sky high because they didn't know what it meant or understood it or be able to use it. So they're now withdrawn all the answers. They've made the questions differently. So people are learning to understand it because you need it for your driving test. If you don't understand it for your driving test, you fail. And that's the reason why. So yes, this is not a rumor. It's 100% true. It's what I've been saying for years. But the app questions are different from the real life test itself. And they're... the DVSA test is 1,500 to 2,000 questions. The apps is 774 questions. All they're doing is trying to give you a taste of what it could be worded, but that's where your understanding of common sense comes into play. So hopefully that makes sense, Messi. So I'm just trying to find the fives. Right, here we go, 5A. Please explain 5 for deeper understanding. We're on 5. I'll do that for you, but let me just go through the others. I've got a C here. No problem. Right, 5A, 5C. What will reduce fuel consumption? You guys went for A. But there was a C somewhere. Let me just make sure. C. Late. Ooh. I think that's got to be a typo, surely. Late and heavy braking is not safety. That never leads to less safety. If you're leaving it late and heavy braking is dangerous. That's how skidding happens. So let me break it down. The question is, what will reduce fuel consumption? Reworded, simple terms, as I like to keep things simple. What's going to help you save fuel in the long run? That's all that means. That's what I'm saying about understanding. All that is saying is how you're going to save fuel. Driving more slowly. Now, let me explain why driving more slowly. When, again, they don't always give you the background information. And this is what I mean about understanding the question and understanding the answer. When they say drive more slowly, they mean drive slowly or the right speed for the gear you are in. That's what they mean. They don't mean drive slowly 5 miles an hour everywhere, because that's dangerous. They mean driving at the right speed for the gear that you are in, because gears are speed related. So in other words, for those of you doing manual lessons especially, when you are driving, first gear, it's 10 to 12 miles an hour when you change to second gear. So in other words, you're not going to do 20 miles an hour in first gear. When you change to second gear, it's 20 to 22 miles an hour. You're not doing 30 miles an hour in second gear, because if you're doing 30 miles an hour in second gear, you're burning more fuel. The question is asking you, how do you save fuel? So you're driving at the right speed for the right gear for the right situation. That's how you save fuel. But definitely late and heavy braking is dangerous. Accelerating rapidly, that means speeding up. That's dangerous in itself. Staying in lower gears, you can't stay in lower gears, because low gears, first and second gear, are power gears. They burn fuel. You're trying to save fuel. So that's why it's that. So hopefully that gives you the understanding you are looking for. What does this sign mean? Let me just bring this up a bit. This is question 6. I'm going to bring it up so you can see the answers. Let me do the comments. I've done that one from Messi. It's okay, my test is coming up soon. Okay, wish you luck with the test. When that comes, come back and let me know when you've passed it. I passed my in May. Thanks, and God bless you. You are welcome. Thank you for coming to the live stream. Let me know that you passed it. Well done to you. Good morning, sir. Passed my theory test. Passed my theory test last week. That makes no sense. First of all, congratulations on passing the theory test. You've just passed your theory test. The waiting time is 4 to 6 months. You would have been extremely lucky to pass your theory test last week and expect to book a driving test the week after. That ain't gonna happen. You need to keep looking and looking and looking. As I said, the waiting time is 4 to 6 months. There's a lot of people out there searching for test dates, so you're not gonna find it just like that. That's the first thing. Secondly, my instructor wants me to book tests first before we can start lessons. That makes no sense. And I'll tell you why it doesn't make any sense, just in case you don't believe me. If he's never seen you drive before, how could you book a driving test? When would you be ready for a driving test? That makes no sense. What you want to do is take a lesson first so you can assess your driving, and based on the hours you're going to do per week, he can turn around and say you want to look for a driving test at this point. So let me give an example. Based on this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm getting from what you're saying. You want to take driving lessons, but your instructor says no, book a driving test first. Right. So if you're my pupil and I said that to you, you now book a driving test for 2 weeks' time. You've never driven before. How can I get you ready for a driving test in 2 weeks' time? That makes no sense. So what I would do is get you to take a driving lesson, have an assessment, so it gives me a rough idea how quick you learn. Talk to you how you're going to structure your lessons, 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week, 1 hour a week. And then I can turn around and say, well, I think you're going to be ready by this month. Now you're looking for a driving test around about that time. But you can't book a driving test first and then take driving lessons afterwards. That makes no sense whatsoever. But you've had that conversation with your instructor, so I wish you best of luck with that one, to be fair. 6. No problem, you're welcome. I don't like to criticize driving instructors, but some of the stuff, and there's two sides to every story. Maybe you've heard him wrong or her wrong. I don't know. But if that's the information they're giving you, book a driving test first and then come for your driving lessons. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. So 6A is what you guys are going for. Yes, I read X. So there's no stopping whatsoever. Which light should you switch on when daytime visibility is poor but not seriously reduced? I'll give you a little tip on this one when you guys answer this. My test is on Tuesday. I'm nervous. Tuesday. First of all, I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome to the live stream. Don't know if you're new to the channel, but welcome to the live stream. You are going to be nervous. I said this earlier on. Nerves is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Do not fight it. Just be confident when you go in there. But I wish you the best of luck on Tuesday. If you've got any questions you want to ask before we sign off, this is the time to jot them in so we can send you in there nice and confident for Tuesday. But I wish you luck with that. Come back next week and let us know how you got on. I'd appreciate that. Olive Smith, welcome. Just passed my first test, my first attempt. Thanks so much. You are welcome. Thank you for coming to the live session. Let me know how you got on. Again, thank you for coming to the live stream. Let me know that you passed it. Now practicing the driving, gone straight to the driving. Well done. Wish you luck with the driving as well. You are welcome, to be fair. And let me get rid of this one. And what are we on? 7. So I mean last month. Oh, so you guys are going for B on this. Pat Spencer, I've not seen your name before, so welcome to you. Sneaking through the back door. Seven B is what you guys are going for. Yeah, 7B. Right, all the light questions, as much as I say about understanding, you still need to understand this. So don't overlook it. Don't turn around and say, Dorian said, it's always going to be this. Still, whatever the question is, make sure you got understanding with it. But all bog standard light questions will always be dipped headlights. Sometimes, on the real tests we're talking about, not on the apps mainly, but on the real tests, they drop the dipped. So it's just headlights. I had a student, a couple of them in the study camp, took a test, failed it, and then came into the study camp. And then this came up and they turned around and said, this was on the real test. This came from the real test. And they said it was looking for dipped headlights and it wasn't there. So they went for something else. And this is what I'm saying about memorizing, because they saw it as dipped headlights on the app. But when they went for the real test, dipped wasn't there. But they didn't understand dipped headlights and headlights are the same thing. So when you go for the real test, they may not have the dipped here. It's going to be headlights as the answer. But I repeat what I said. A bog standard light question will always be dipped headlights or headlights as the answer. With any other light question, believe it or not, the answers within the question. So an example, you are parked on a road of 40 miles an hour or more. Sorry, you're parked on a road of 30 miles an hour or more. Which light should you use? Is parking lights. You are driving in fog. Which light should you use? Is going to be fog lights. So box standard light question, always dipped headlights or headlights. And any other lights would be in the question. Read the question carefully and see which lights they are talking about. So that's a tip for you. But make sure you still understand your light questions though, because it's also part of your show me, tell me on your driving test. What's the first thing you must do if you have a collision while you're driving your car? So what's the first thing you must do if you have a collision while driving your car? Right, let's go through this. Can you quickly run through what each choice lights means? Lights on what we're talking about? Choice lights. Lights on the cars, lights on the traffic lights. You've got to give me a bit more information than that. You're new here, that's the reason why. Yeah, when you ask a question, you've got to give me a bit more detail so I can help you out, because there's lights for traffic lights, there's lights on the motorway, there's lights on cars. You've got to give me a bit more information. I told him the same thing, but he's saying it's better to book it first and work towards the date. I can't comment on that. If someone's telling me that, which makes no sense, then I'm looking for another driving instructor, because that doesn't bode well for the future. Like I said, I don't like criticising. There's two sides to every story, but the side you're telling me is your side. I haven't heard their side, but I can't see how you booking a driving test and working towards it helps. As I said, the example I gave, if I'm your instructor and I told you that, and then you book a driving test for 2 weeks' time, and you've never driven before, I don't know what experience you've got, and I've never seen you drive before. How can I get you ready for a test in 2 weeks? That makes no sense. Unless we're doing it intensively. So it's like putting the cart before the horse. You have to put the horse before the cart, because the horse drags the cart. So you need to take a lesson first for me to see how quick you learn. If I don't know how quick you learn, I can't give you an idea of when to book a driving test for. And also, when are you taking your lessons? Are you going to take 2 hours every week, 4 hours a week? Because if you take 2 hours a week, it's going to be X amount of time to be ready. If you're taking 4 hours a week, it's going to be Y amount, which is going to be quicker. If you do 1 hour a week, it's going to take even longer. So that makes no sense. But like I said, you have to work it out with them. It's not something I want to criticize, but I'm just giving you the logic behind it. And most instructors will work that way. They need to see you drive first. Even if someone comes to me with a driving test already booked, so someone says to me, look, I've got a driving test booked, I want to use your car for the test, I still say to them, I need to see you drive first, and then I'm going to decide if I'm going to take you. Because if I don't think you're ready for that driving test, and I don't think I can get you ready for that driving test, you don't use my car for the test. So even if you have the test booked and you come to me and I can't get you ready for it, I'm still not going to take you. So there's not much more I can say to that. Like I said, you have to work that out with him or her. My test was last week. I failed, but rebooked to take another by the end of this month. Hopefully I'll pass this time. I'll come back to that. Number 8. Are we on 8? Oh, some of you got 9s in here. God, trying to confuse me. All right, let's do this. Got a B here. You're welcome. I'll change it to C. Right, there's definitely a confusion here because some 8s, Bs, 8Cs. She meant the last question on question 7. What she meant. One thing I can't go back. When you guys want explanation about a question, you've got to type it in pretty much straight away because I can't go back on the app with a 20 question mock test. I've got A on this. Right, you guys are confused with this. What's the first thing you must do? Must is law, by the way. So when they use things like must, should, may, it's law. If you have a collision while you're driving your car, call the insurance company. No. Just because you have a collision with your car, it doesn't mean that you have to go for the insurance. It could be just a slight damage, which you want to pay out of your own pocket. Call the emergency services. Not necessarily, because it didn't say a serious collision. It just said a collision. So that's not necessary. But with ticket, it's possible. You have to stop by law. You have to stop. So it's going to be this one. Stop only someone waves at you. That makes no sense. So just because you have an accident, it doesn't mean that you have to go for the insurance company. You can pay for it from your own pocket to save your premiums going up. Call emergency services. Like I said, it doesn't say serious collision, so no one's injured. So you don't need to be calling ambulance or police. But you do have to stop at the scene of an incident. So that's going to be that one. And then people waving at you, should you be stopping, is a different question altogether. You're on a motorway. What should you do if there's a red cross? This is red cross showing on the sign above. Your lane only. So at the end, I don't know where it's cut off, this red cross here. Right, let's do... Right, my test was last week. I failed, but rebooked to take another by the end of this month. Hopefully I'll pass first time. End of the month. So you got a lot of time, 7/14/21, 7 days today, 28. So you got about 3 weeks, another 3 more live sessions at least. I don't know what score you got. You didn't say what score you got. So it depends on what score you got and how much done you're going to do. But you've got data. I always say that you've got data in the categories, restarted the categories, but it depends what score you got at the 50 will determine whether or not it's just go through the categories or there's a lack of understanding. But you didn't even say what you failed on. You just said you failed. I don't even know if it's questions or has perception. But I wish you luck with the next time round. Number 9, okay. So you guys are going for C. We'll agree on this one, I think. C. Yeah, if it's got a red X across your lane, don't continue. If it's got a red X across every lane, then everyone comes to a stop and wait for further information. What should you do if you cannot see clearly behind when reversing? Right, Pat Spencer. I'm new online here, but I have been watching over 2 years. I guess I'm ready. If you've been watching for 2 years, yeah, hopefully you are ready. But thanks for watching for 2 years. And thank you for coming to the live stream, by the way. 2 years is a long time to be studying for the theory side of it. But it's funny I say that because I sent an email out a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, to the email list, and it was titled "Life Gets in the Way." And a lot of people responded back to say they haven't passed their theory test yet. Some 2 years, 3 years, and there's a couple of people on there 4 years, because it's about 4 years ago I started to go online doing the training, and they signed up originally at the email. And I can't imagine myself wanting to do something and letting 4 years pass before taking the theory test, especially with a driver's license. It's a long time, and I kind of get it, but there's more than enough help out there for you guys to pass your theory test. I wouldn't be sitting on it for 4 years, because when you're sitting on it for 4 years, in your case, Pat, 2 years, the driving test has got harder, the theory test is getting harder, the waiting time's getting longer. So you're adding more and more obstacles in your way, and that's the thing. But as long as you get there, I suppose. California license, I've taught a lot of students from America. The biggest issue that you guys have is driving on the road. And plus, I'm assuming you are going to be doing an automatic. Well, I'm not saying assuming. I've taught a lot of students from America and other countries where you drive automatic. You call it stick shift over here. And you want to drive manual. And obviously, you got to undo what you've done or not done previously. And in the States, the road's a lot wider, where this narrower here, and you don't have roundabouts in the States. So those are the obstacles you're going to have when it comes to driving. But like I said, if you persevere, you get there with that. But yeah, I've taught a lot of American students over the years, plus with bad driving habits as well. But yeah, I wish you luck with that. Book your theory test and see how it goes. You've been studying for 2 years, or watching me for 2 years. Ali Hamza, how do I say I passed my theory test? Congratulations on passing. And again, thank you for coming to the live. Let me know. And we are on number 10. Let's find the 10s. Just jumping all off. I'm trying to find the 10s. Where are you? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Here we go. It seems like you guys agree on this one. It's all B's. B. Yeah, ask someone to guide you. Again, let me give you some background information on this one. It says, what should you do if you cannot see clearly behind when reversing? What they're not telling you with this question, they're talking about behind as in the boot down. They're not talking you behind down the road, because the common answer is look in the mirrors and stuff like that. They're looking, you're talking from the boot down, children playing hide and seek, black bags, recycling bins behind the car that you cannot see. That's why it's ask someone to guide you. If this is not an option when you're taking the real test, it will be get out and check. So you're going to get out, look behind the car, jump back in and reverse. So that's the two options. It could be this one or get out and check on the real test. What does this sign mean? Let me just bring it up a little bit so you can see all the options. This is number 11, just in case the number goes. So it's number 11. What does this sign mean? Right. Maxwell, if you stop when you, a person, if you stop when you win a person car. I can't get my head around that, sorry. My dyslexia is not letting me understand that. If you stop when you win a person car, what about safety? Is what if it's not safe to stop there? I have no idea what you're talking about with that. Can't get my head around that. If you want to retype that in, so I can make sense of it, I can't even read it properly, let alone my dyslexia is not allowing me to make sense of that, so I can't do it. I can't help you, unfortunately. So just type that in again, but try to make it make sense. I've got no problems with answering, but I need to visualize it. Just in case you guys don't know, I've got dyslexia, and if I can't read the question, I can't visualize it, which means I can't answer. It's just the way my brain works. I watched your videos and I practiced 4-in-1, passed through it in 2 weeks. Thanks a lot. Congratulations on passing. I think you said that before you passed, but you watched the videos, done it in 2 weeks, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. 30 days, sweet spot. 14 days is okay. Well done to you. If you stop when you hit a person, what about safety? Is it safe to stop? Right, I'm with you. Now that makes sense. If you hit somebody, you have to stop regardless, because it's not safe to carry on. You've just hit somebody, so you have to stop. There's nothing wrong with that. What you got to understand is you got to change. Let me quickly explain driving wise as well. You have to, there's a couple of things here. Let me just explain first of all, keep it simple. With driving, you have to turn someone's stupidity, if they're doing something stupid, dangerous, even if it's your priority, you have to turn it into safety. So if you hit somebody and it wasn't safe for you to stop there in the first place, you still have to stop because you change it to safety, if that makes sense. Because if you carry on, you're running the person over again, if that makes sense. So if you hit somebody, you have to stop to make the situation safe. So that solves that problem. Also, with the theory training, don't overthink it. When you start to add things into the equation, you start to make the question different. So with what you're saying here, if you hit the person, if it's unsafe to stop, it's not going to stop, which makes the question this is related to that we did earlier on invalid. Don't add things into the question. Don't take things out of the question. So if they're asking you A, B, C, D, that's the information they're giving you, A, B, C, D. Don't start adding what if this and what if that. Because once you do, that's a different question, which means it's going to be a different answer, which is not on there. So don't overthink it. But if you're asking this question as in general question for yourself and personal knowledge, if you hit someone, you have to stop regardless of the situation. That's what hazard lights are for, by the way. You put your hazard lights on so everyone knows there's a problem coming up. So hopefully that answered your question, but thanks for making it clearer for my brain to understand it. 11. The first one. I'm assuming you meant 11 because we haven't got 21. We corrected it, that's fine. And you guys all agreed on this one, so it's C. Yeah, route for trams. Yeah. What does this sign mean? So this is number 12. I'm going to move it up slightly so you can see the answers. So number 12, and there's an answer so you can see. Let me just go through your comments. I failed my theory test and I scored 41 on my first attempt. Scored 49 on hazard perception. 9 questions wrong. And you booked your test for the end of the month. There's a little bit of work to be done. If you was my student, there's a little bit of work to be done. 9 questions. Check the categories. I would imagine 9 questions. You're looking at 6, maybe 7 categories. That suggests there's still lack of understanding on that. So I'll definitely try to work out the understandings on those in the topics. Give yourself a better chance of passing. And 49 on hazard perception, I would definitely still practice hazard perception. You're scraping that. There's no guarantee you're going to get 49 or more on the next time round. So your hazard perception is still weak. So I'll practice both of those, but definitely the questions first, because that's the one that's going to change when you go back for the test. But that's just as lack of knowledge on that one. But without knowing the categories, it's hard to say. But 41, I would definitely go for understanding when you restudy. But you got time because you booked it for the end of the month. Yes, automatic for over 48 years. Wow, so you're of age. You're driving, you're going to go for automatic, which is fine. So you're going like for like. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just learning the rules of the road. So you've got experience, 48 years of it. You just have to learn the UK rules and get used to the size of the roads and the roundabouts. But yeah, pass that theory test and you got driving experience, which is most important. You can't overestimate that, to be fair. So you're well ahead of where you need to be. You just need to pass the theory test and then get behind and learn the rules of the UK roads. But you should be fine. What are we on 12? Question, Pat. Just, you're still here because you answered 12. Are you driving in the UK on the international license? Does that have interest? No problem. You're welcome, Emma. Yeah, are you driving on an international license? Or are you just not driving at all in the UK? Sorry, 12B is what you guys gone for. Yeah, 95% of red circles are no's. So what you want to do, if you don't know, again, another little tip for you, 95% of red circles are no's. It normally has a no in it. So if you ask the question, look at the image, you don't know what it means, go to your 4 options, Get rid of the ones with nose in it, with no nose in it. So get rid of those two. And then it becomes obvious, because obviously cars and motorcycles are shaped differently, and then it's always going to lead you to what you need. So I repeat, 95% of red circles are nose. If you don't know what that means in here, then get rid of the ones with no nose in it. They always give you two with nose in it, and then go back, because it's obvious what it becomes after that. Why should you check for motorcyclists just before turning right into a side road? I've not seen your name before, Aguila. I've never said that right. Hi, Dawn. I recently joined the camp, but correct me if I'm wrong. Will be there Zoom meeting or what? There's another one from you. Please, is the boot camp on a Zoom meeting, or how does it work? Because I joined 2 weeks ago and my test is July, but how do I get the help I need with the boot camp? It depends what you joined. If you joined the study camp, there's Zoom training Monday to... So before I answer that, could you type in what are you joined? Did you join the study camp or the boot camp? Because the boot camp's phased out. So which one did you join, the boot camp or the study camp? Because there's two different things. Let me know, and then I can answer your question. So did you join the boot camp or study camp? Once you type that in, I can answer your question. Not yet. Okay. Because I know when I was teaching some... from America, they was allowed, because you're allowed to drive on the international license. If you've got a license from another country, you can drive on the international license for a year, and you've obviously got the year to get your UK license. But I know with the American students I had, you can go back to America and get not a visa, I can't remember what the word's called now, to extend it. But if you're not doing it yet, that's fine, it's not a problem either. But it may be something to consider. If you're going to drive on the international license, get some experience that way, because you've got 48 years behind you. No problem, you're welcome. What about red circles with numbers? What does it mean? Speed limits. Red circles with numbers, and it's speed limits. 68 years old is not breaking rules. No, your provisional lasts until your 70th birthday. Or your license lasts until your 70th birthday. As long as you still got your marbles, you're good to go after 70 years. But yeah, your license officially lasts to your 70th birthday. So you're still fine. Got a C there. 30-day study camp. All right, let me come back to that. Now you've answered that. Let me come back to that. No problem. You're welcome. You guys gone for C. No, you didn't. You gone for B, but there is some C's in there. Why should you check? Let's look for B. What did you put for B? They may be overtaking you on the right. Correct. And someone went for C. They may be emerging from the side. Emerging's coming out. If they're coming out, they should be giving way to you. The question says, why should you check for motorcyclists just before turning right into the side road? Emerging is they're coming out from the side road. So they should be giving way to you. You need to check to make sure cars, mainly the delivery guys, pizza delivery guys, are not going to shoot past you last minute. That's why you check your hazard perception, by the way. Check mirrors. Problem, mirror, problem, mirror. Turning right is a problem. Which vehicles are not allowed to use the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway? All right, so let's answer your question. Now I know your study camp, 30-day study camp. Right. Yes, the Zoom. There's going to be a Zoom training. There's Zoom training today at 1 o'clock. Where do the live review session. So hopefully you've done the Ferry Pro. mock test, which you're supposed to do when you first join. You should have got the link for that. And you do the 50 question mock test, so I can review that. So we're going 1 o'clock after this. I get something to eat, and then I'll join you guys at 1 o'clock on the Zoom. And then on Monday to Thursday, I do a live session 5 till 7 on that. All the links are on the Kajabi training platform. So you go into the training platform that you should have had the link for when you signed up, use the password that you use, and on the right hand side it's got the links for the 4-day training, Monday to Thursday, and it's got the links for Wednesday's review and Sunday's review. It's all in there. If you are struggling, send us an email and I can guide you a bit more with that. But yeah, definitely training today and definitely training on Monday. And so I can we go through your live review on Theory Test Pro, so I can show you where you're going right, wrong, and all the rest of it. You said you got your test in when? July, which is more than enough time to get ready for. So hopefully I'll see you this afternoon. If not, see you on Monday. But like I said, any issues, send an email in. But please make sure you use the right email. Use the student email that you would have got when you signed up. Do not use a public email, because that's just going to go to the bottom of the list. 14. There we are. So it looks like you go. No problem. Like I said, hopefully you're going to be there this afternoon. And then I can take a look at your results. Also, if you joined up 2 weeks ago, you would have got an announcement this Wednesday, because I didn't do a session this week for personal reasons. So you would have got an announcement as well through your email and on the dashboard. And it's got the links in there. I'll read down the links in there as well, so you can go from there. But it's on the training platform anyway. So you guys are going for D. Vehicles towing a trailer. Also, if that's not here, try again. If this is not there as an option on the real test, you're looking for a heavy goods vehicle. Heavy goods vehicles and towing trailers can't use the right-hand lane. And again, understanding why can't they use the right-hand lane? Because they can't do 70 miles an hour. The maximum speed they can go is 60. So they can't use the right-hand lane. So towing vehicles and heavy goods vehicles can't use the right-hand lane. Now, another question, another spin on it, on the real test. When can they use the right-hand lane is the other question. And it's when it's a lane closure. When 3 lanes goes into 2, they can now use the right-hand lane. So like I said, it's always about understanding the question inside out. And there's normally another spin on the question. This is a standard forward-looking question. They can ask you, when can they use it? And like I said, it's always about understanding. And this is why I keep saying understand, understand, understand. Because once they word it any way they want, you're good to go. So that's the one I've chosen. And that's the one. Right. This is nice. Where are amber reflective studs found on the motorway? So where are amber reflective studs found on a motorway? Right, so I've done that one, and I've done that one. Driving Ferry UK is the best boot camp, helped me smash through 5 days of revision. That's brilliant. Thank you for the kind words, appreciate. Jay. Fresh, I got confirmation email from the DSF. is wise to practice with that. Do you think the questions will be different from... You guys are still missing what I'm saying. I don't know how much different ways. It does not make a difference what link, app, books, CDs you guys are using to study. The questions are going to be different. Some of you are looking, I'm not saying this is you, Faith, but some of you are looking for an easy way out. And what I mean by that, you're looking for the exact question, exact answers. There is nowhere out there that you're going to get the exact questions and the exact answers to the real test. Nowhere on earth at this point in time. The questions are going to be different. The DVSA are sending you practice links because they don't know whether you're practicing. So in other words, they're saying, look, this is the link to practice. If you are practicing, ignore the links. That's what they're saying. And if you aren't practicing, we suggest you use these links to training material. The questions are the same. My advice, if you don't believe me, click on the link, see what the training material is like, and I guarantee you those questions are the same type of questions that come up in the app. They may be slightly worded differently, but they're the same type of questions that come up in the app. The questions on the real test will be worded differently, and there's going to be questions you have never seen before. You are never going to see those questions anywhere on a training platform. The only reason why I know what type of questions are in the real test is because I've been teaching this for 10 years and my students give me feedback. That's the reason why. So I include that information in the study camp. So they got an insight of what the real question is going to be like. So the pass rate's higher for us lot. That's the only reason why. If I didn't teach this, I would not know what the questions are like on the real test. But you're not going to get the real questions for the real test, regardless of what you use. So bear that in mind. There's not an easy way out. 15. The only way to pass the third is to study. There's no guarantee you're going to pass first time, because even the stat says it takes 3.3 attempts to pass it. But the only way to pass is to study. There's no shortcuts. And even if you could take a shortcut to pass, it's going to even itself out when you need to go for a driving lesson, because your knowledge is weak. So you're going to spend more time on the side of the road talking about the theory because you didn't understand it. So your instructor's got to fill in the gaps. 15A is what you guys are going for. Oh, well done. You guys have got that. Most people struggle. Let me give you another little tip on this. The studs are... There's only two ways of asking you what the studs are. Colour. So these headphones are starting to do my head in. It's going to be colour or location. That's the two ways of asking the question. Colour or location. In this question, it's colour. So it says, where are amber reflective studs found on the motorway? If it was location for the same colour studs, it will be you're next to the central reservation, which is on the right. So the central reservation, the crash barriers on the right would be for the same colour. So it's location or colour. And then once you work out what it is, location or colour, you go to these three letters, RWA, and then go from there. So now, as you can see, they're asking you colour, amber, A is on the right, which is the central reservation, which is on the right hand side. So that's how you work it out. So colour or location. Once you work out location or colour, isolate RWA, and if it was red, it's on the left. If it's W white, it's in the middle between the two letters, and if it's A in this case, it's on the right hand side. So just in case you did struggle, for your stud questions. You're waiting at a level crossing. What should you do if a red warning light continues to flash after a train has passed? I just saw that, so I did it anyway, so hopefully that made it clear. Please can you throw more lights on the meaning of amber reflective studs? On the motorway, you got reflective studs. They're called cat's eyes. So when you're driving at night, it glows. So it gives you a visual clue of what lane you're in with that. So that's what it means. So the reflective studs are called cat's eyes. They reflect at night to show you. In daytime, you don't really see it as clear. But at nighttime, when your light hits it, it glows. Because at night, if you look in the cat's eyes, you can see the cat's eyes clearly. At night, that's why it's called cat's eyes. So red is on the left, white is in the middle lane, and amber studs is on the right hand side. That's what they mean by reflective studs. 16. No problem. No, as I said, all they're doing is, because they don't know whether you studied, they want people to pass, so they're giving you training material. Because you'd be surprised how many people, their words, just go and have a go. That's not what they want. They want you to study because you need this information at a later date. That's all it is. But there's no easy way to pass a theory test outside of studying. But like I said, I'm not saying this is you, by the way, but like I said, a lot of people are looking for the answers in the real tests, the questions in the real tests. It's not out there. It's definitely not out there, 16C. And I've been driving instructor for years. Like I said, when the theory test first, continue to wait. When the theory test first came in, that's what they did, because they expected people to study and give them the answer, but people didn't. They memorized. And like I said, once they start to take driving tests, and if they scrape the driving test and passed it, the accident rate, the failure rate for the driving test went sky high, and the accident rate went sky high. So they removed the answers and removed the original questions. So they now do sampled questions, because they want you to study so it stays with you, so you can apply it to the driving. So when it first came out, not some of you wasn't even born then, to be fair, when it first came out. But when it first came out, people done themselves an injustice by not doing what the DVSA expected you to do. You damage yourself by memorizing. So they thought, sod that, we're going to remove it. Sorry, 17, I'm daydreaming. You're driving along a wet road. How can you tell if your vehicle tyres are losing their grip on the surface? Right, so let's do some of these comments quickly. Please, how can I join a Zoom meeting? The link is in the description. I will do the link in the comment section. I've just posted the link in the comment section. Click on. It's a course, by the way. You can't just join the Zoom. It's a paid course. So the link's in the description. Click on it, read it. If you're happy, that's the way you go. About the speed limit, is it to speed above the numbers on the red circle or to be on the speed limit visible on the circle? Safety, Samuel. Come on, think about it. If they've got a number in it and you're going to go more than the speed, how's that safe? A red circle's no. No means do not do more than 30 miles an hour. No means don't do more than 40 miles an hour. If you're going over the speed limit, you're breaking the law. And also, it's a limit, not a target. So just because it's 30 miles an hour, it doesn't mean that you have to do 30 miles an hour. You can actually fail your driving test for doing 30 miles in the 30 zone. So you haven't gone fast in the speed limit. You're just driving too fast to the conditions. The driving test is about driving to the conditions, not the limit. How can you join the study camp have access to 1 p.m. live training? You won't get access to the live training if you join up today because you need to be registered. But you get access to the live training onwards. But the link is in the description, as I said to the last person. That's how you sign up. But the training is already for the people that's already in there. If you sign up today, you won't get access because you have to be registered and all the rest of it. And I don't do it on a Sunday. Got more than enough going on a Sunday. My third test is coming up on the 24th June. Please can I join the Zoom tour? 24th of June, 7/14/21. That's 2.5 weeks. It's possible. You can't, again, you have to make that decision. And it depends how, you can just push the date back, because I assess you when you come in. I get you to do a mock test, and I assess your answers, and that gives me an idea whether you'll be ready for the 24th of June. But again, like I said, you won't join today. Today's meeting is a review session, because the students take mock tests during the week. When they join on the live review session, because today's a review session, I go into their account. I can see when they studied, how long they studied for, how they're answering questions, and then I can assess how they're getting on, and I give them a progress report and what to do over the next 7 days. If you join today, like I said, that ain't going to happen, because you have to be registered to get in there first. But if you join, you'll be able to join the Wednesday session, because we have 2 Wednesdays and a Sunday plus the Monday. But your test on 24th of June. But if you was to join, I can give you advice whether you should take it for the 24th or if you're not ready for the 24th. But if you cancel it 3 days beforehand, you won't lose your test fee. But that choice is yours. But the link is in the description. Oh, this last one again, same one. Might as well just the same as I've been saying. The link is in the description if you guys want to join that. 17. But I will add, you are not going to be able to join today's session because you've got to be registered. There's a link on the screen, but it's in the comment section. Same for me. How are you? Yeah, some people are too young. I was not born when the theory test first came out, or God knows how many years ago. I know some of you are of age, and some of you are literally young and wasn't even around when the theory test came out. I was teaching before you guys were born, to be fair. Some of you before you was born. 17D. Yeah. It's 17D, yeah. There's no grip. Again, on the real test, this could be worded as aquaplaning. How do you know when your car is aquaplaning? Aquaplaning is the same as this, no grip. But like I said, understanding, they word it differently. Who is authorized to signal you to stop? You shouldn't be confused about red circle. Red circles are orders. So if it's got a number in it, it's telling you not to do more than that number. I was 15 on this month. Belated happy birthday. You're the same age as me. My birthday's in Feb. So I'm a few months older than you. Wow. We are of age. We're mature people. But yeah, belated happy birthday to you. Good morning. You're late, Juliet, by the way, but you're here first time. $18D. Yeah, police. Once it's got police in their law and order, that takes priority over everything. What does a red traffic light mean? Smith. Remember I was telling you about the intensive course. Turns out it was a scam. I got scammed out of... Wow. Sorry to hear that. Who's the company? Name and shame. What was the company that scammed you out of... Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. It's a lot of money to be losing. You have to be careful with these things because, like I said, there's a lot of people out there, especially like with the driving test. That's why the driving test waiting times are so long. People are scamming learners out of their £250 to £500 is the going price for a driving test if you pay online. when the driving test is only £62. So yeah, £62. So yeah, you got to be careful with driving course, intensive driving courses. Do your research. Not to say you didn't, you can still do your research and get scammed. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But if you want to share the company's name, let's pull it out there. Don't want them to rip you guys off. 19. I hit the 2 year mark. I'm off. I hit the 2 year mark. I'm off. 2 years already. Wow, time flies. I remember when because you passed when I was in hospital. Wow, 2 years already. Just to add to that, right? Not that you're going to do it. Just because you're 2 years doesn't mean you can start racking up points on your license now. Still keep it clean. You guys having a conversation amongst yourself, which is good. 100% correct. I was to join your Zoom, please. I have tests on Tuesday. Is that was or I want? I don't do short notice. The study camp is not for people who's got a test coming up literally around the corner. That's not what it's about. It's about to give you understanding, to give yourself the best possible chance to pass it, so the information stays, so you go on to pass your driving test, hopefully first time. It's not a shortcut to passing a theory test. So if you got a test this week, the study camp isn't for you. That's not what it's for. As I said to you, there's no shortcut to passing the theory test. It's all about understanding. If you understand it, you're passing the theory test anyway. But if you're coming to me to say your test is Tuesday, you're expecting me to help you pass on Tuesday, it ain't gonna happen. That's not what it's for. Totally agree. Again, when is your test is the question I would have to ask. Marissa's been here for a little while. And she was taking driving lessons. I don't know if she's still taking, because she doesn't talk to me. When I say to her stuff on screen, she doesn't answer back. D's what you guys gone for? Yeah, with this one as well, again, insight to the real test. Be careful with your answers. Some of them says you must stop and wait behind the stop line. That's the correct answer. They got something similar to this where it says you must stop and wait beyond the line. Very subtle, but because some of you still do it so quick and skim read, you go for that one. You must wait behind the line, not stop beyond the line. Beyond says you've gone too far. So be very, very careful if it gives you the two similar answers on the real test. You lose control of your car and damage your garden wall. What must you do if the property owner is not available? I totally agree. And you've not been on the motorway yet. My cousin's put you to shame. Wellingborough, my cousin-in-law used to live down there as well. So your cousin is actually driving past me to get to Wellingborough, passing Luton to get to Wellingborough. that's a. If they're coming from, I'm saying your cousin, I don't know if it's a he or she. If they're coming from London, that's a journey. You got to just tackle the motorway. It's scary in the beginning. Once you get going and doing, because it's actually easier to drive, because you're driving around in London as well. London, all sort of crazy people are out there as well. Once you get onto the motorway, it's scary because of the speed. You're not used to it. But once you get going, it's easy because it's a straight line and you can see so far ahead of you. You can see anything that's going to happen, so it doesn't scare you. Just jump on the motorway and do it. Just go on the M25, at least go one junction. If you're in London, just jump on M25 and just do one junction and come off and see how you feel. It's not much different from a dual carriageway. It's just a lot easier than a dual carriageway as well. You must have been on a dual carriageway driving around London. North Circular, South Circular. Click on the link, it's all in there. I need to be in the camp before I book for the test. How do I go about it? It's all in the description. Click on the link and see if it's for you. But if you've got a test around the corner, the study camp, that's not what the study camp's about. It's about giving you the knowledge so you pass first time, go to your driving test, pass first time. But if it means you're coming in because you've got a test booked for next week, that's not the way I teach. Northampton resident, Wellingborough. Brilliant. Some of you guys are not too far from me. Oh, that's another thing as well. If you want driving lessons, I'm now in Luton. So if you live in Luton, surrounding areas, Dunstable, that type of thing, jump onto my website, book a driving lesson, and I can help you with the whole package. I help you with the theory, hit driving, pass first time. Just jump on the motorway, just do it. Yeah, I used to be the A to Z. When you're old enough to remember the A to Zs, I still got one in my car, to be fair. But yeah, I just use Waze now. Makes life a little bit. I don't trust them, still don't trust them, but I use Waze. It does make life a lot easier than finding the A to Z stuff. Sorry, what you guys are going for? We're reminiscing here, by the way. 20B is what you guys are going for. Yeah, you got to report within 24 hours. If you can't talk to the owner, you have to go to the police station. Don't leave messages with family members and friends. It doesn't make you legal. You have to go to the police station and report within 24 hours. We actually cover this in the theory training, the study camp on a... When did we cover that? Wednesday. We did it on a Wednesday. Right, so let me get rid of this so you can see. There's the categories. 10 categories in a 20 question mock test. As I said, on your real test is 14 different categories. So you are going to get questions from all 14. So that's why I say study, because if you look at this one here, motorway rules, you actually got 4 questions in a 20 question mock test. So it's possible you get 5, 6 in a 50 question mock test and stuff like that. So that's why I say do categories individually. So you got the full information and then you move on to doing mock tests. So hopefully you guys learned some from that and give you a bit of insight into some of the questions. Like I keep saying, it's always about it's always about studying to make sure you fully understand what needs to go on. So let me just cover some of these comments before we move on, and then I'll do the hazard perception. Right. Wow. They really went deep into that. And there's nothing you can do, because when companies set themselves up like that, you can't even go to the DVSA. If it was a driving instructor, you can go to the DVSA and do something about it. But when it's a company, the DVSA has nothing to do with individual companies. It's only instructors they can deal with on that individual basis. So technically that money's gone. There's not much you can do, I don't think. Yeah, as I said, I'm sorry about that. Sorry to hear about that. You got family in Luton, you want to just jump on the motorway and drive. So once you get to the M1, if you're, depends what part of London you live. If you jump on the M1, it's a straight drive, 30 minutes, 40 minutes tops to get to Luton. Wellingborough slightly further. Depends what junction. Junction 10 is where I live. Junction 11 is Dunstable. But it's a straight drive. Nice little drive as well. Blessings. Hi, Donald. Would like to ask, when I'm stopping at a red light and there is a police car behind with a siren and blue lights. They shouldn't have the siren on, by the way. Let me answer your questions. No. Because if you go for a red light, you're breaking the law. If you get flashed going for a red light, you're still going to get 3 points in your license. You can't appeal it because the red light said stop. With the siren on, they're not saying you have to go. They're just letting you know they're there, but they shouldn't have the siren on. What they should do is leave the light on, but kill the noise not to press you to go for a red light. So you only go once the lights turn to green and then move to the left when safe to do so. You don't dive to the left. You see people driving on the pavement, going to bus lanes. That's all illegal. You go to the left when it's safe to do so. As long as you're moving and they're moving, they're making progress. It's when you stop and make the road congested and they have to slow down to negotiate. That's when what they don't like. But to answer your question, no, you do not go for a red light. So hopefully that answers that. Right, so what I'm going to do now. Someone said they can't hear me. That's got to be you because no one else is complaining about that. And that's got to be on your side because no one else has mentioned that. And you've come right at the end to mention that, and I've gone through the whole live talking. Crouchend, I used to drive down there before, no problem on provisional. But now you got your full license, you're not doing it. Yeah, I figured that. You got your license, do it now. You can do it without anyone next to you. Right, hazard perception. Let me get my iPad out. So hazard perception is 14 videos, 13 of them single hazards. One of them has a double hazard. Score maximum of 10. I don't know where my pencil is. So unorganized. Where's my pencil? Okay. Use old-fashioned way, use my finger. Don't know why I'm doing that. This is the one. That's the one I'm after. Right, so this is your report sheet. You're going to get a copy of this, pass or fail. It's slightly bigger. You can't see the top part of that. But yeah, the examiner will give you one of these, pass or fail, in your driving test. So the theory test we just did, traffic signs, road markings, traffic lights, traffic controls, other road users. Like I said, that's your theory test right there. We had following distance, driving in the wet, what should you leave, 4-second gap or double. That's where it would come to. Someone was talking about speed limits. I think it was Samuel, red circles, the numbers in it. Making progress, driving at appropriate speed. As I said, you can drive, so you can fail your test for driving too fast without breaking the speed limit because you're not driving at the appropriate speed for the right conditions. That's the box it will come in. But hazard perception is using the mirrors. So that click that you're doing on your videos to get your 5s and 4s is you checking the mirrors before slowing down or changing direction. So use some mirrors before you signal, change the direction and change the speed. That's what they're testing you on. But on the videos, you can't see the car signaling, so you take that out of the equation. So a hazard is anything to cause you to slow down or change direction. So if you feel that you need to use the brakes, or check your mirrors. So if you need to use the brake, feel the need to use the brakes in the video or turn the steering wheel, then you need to be checking the mirrors. You should be clicking and always go for 2 clicks per problem. I just come to thank you. I've passed my theory test yesterday. Congratulations on passing yesterday. Got 49, missed it by 1. 49 out of 50, well done to you. 52 has perception. Third attempt. Like I said, it takes 3.3 attempts to pass your theory test, so you're average, you're the norm. No, but thank you, Amberine, for coming to the live session. Let me know how you got on. Right, so, I ain't got my pencil. It's feeling really weird not feeling with my pencil. Right, anyway, come out of that, life goes on. See, even I use driving test success. I recommend what I use because when I'm in the car with my students, especially if they're struggling with something, I bring out the app if I have to and use it. So practice clips, there's two types, real life and CGI. You want to be doing both, obviously, but on a real test, it's all CGIs where they're crystal clear. CGIs, as the real life clips, are harder to see. So let's just choose one that I've not, no stars. So let's do this one. So remember, hazards, anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. I'm going to do a commentary drive so you know what I'm looking at, so you know why I'm going to click. When you see a problem, you click, you count 1, 2, and then you click again. That way, if you click too early, it's going to be a 0, but the second click should land in the 5 or the 4. What they don't tell you in the videos, they say to you in the videos, the earlier you click, the higher the mark. That's not true. The earlier you click, the more you can get a 0 because you click too early. What they should tell you, you have to get a score in the countdown window. So it's not about you seeing the problem. You can see the problem and get a 0. It's about you getting a score for the problem. That's the important thing. Make sure you get a score. So the tractor in front of me, amber light is slow moving. So you always want to be looking as far as you can see in the video and always go from left to right. So hedge to hedge because road signs are on the edge of the road, cyclists in the road. Again, looking well ahead. There's something there I don't know what it is, but I'm going to click on it. As soon as you see a problem, just click road signs. Again, there's something coming towards me, I can't see what it is. I'm going to click again just to make sure I get a score. Remember, get a score. So that's the problem, but I'm going to keep going and clicking if I have to because it could be the one with the double. Again, look as far down the video as you can see, or down the road as you can see, scanning from left to right, right to left, because road signs are on the edge of the road, not in the road. There you go, 5 out of 5. Always review it back to see if you can improve. So just for the sake of the video, let me just speed it up. So like I said, I saw something in the road, I don't know what it was, on the left. There's something on the left on the road, I don't know what it is, but there's a problem there. So I'm clicking. Don't need to know what it is, I just know there's a problem. Problem click, so that's my second click. So it happens to be roadwork signs, triangles. Then I saw something in the road again, if you see it there. Click, just about got a 5 for it. And the second one's a 3. They always give it a high score, so it doesn't really make a difference whether or not the first flag registered and the second flag registered. They'll always give you a high score, they're not going to downgrade you. And so there's no benefit in clicking once. I've actually gone for 4 clicks in that situation, but let me just explain why I've gone for 4 clicks. I saw something in the road there, so I've clicked. That's my 2 clicks for the one problem. And now technically I'm moving that to the right hand side, on the wrong side of the road, so I clicked again. 2 different problems. Driving straight, problem, click. Now I'm moving to the right, so I'm checking my right door mirror if it was a driving lesson. Because I'm driving slowly on approach to this problem, I'm driving straight, so it's just a mirror check. And now because I'm moving the wheel to get to the wrong side of the road, I'm clicking again. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me just come back to this, see what you guys are saying. Nope, no other comments on there, so you guys seem to be happy with that. Right, let me do a real life clip. Sorry, a CGI one. Don't know why I come out of that altogether. You can't see what's going on, can you? There we go. I came out of it by mistake. CGI, let's choose one that's got no stars. Ooh, got stars on it. Oh, here's one right in dark. But motorbike to my left, road sign to my left, left lane closed off. So I don't know what the problem's going to be because it's already told me left lane closed off. So now I need to look for that closure. So the motorbike's in the left hand lane, so at some point no doubt the motorbike will come into my lane because it's closed off. There's another sign. Lane's closed off. Indicator from the bike. As soon as you see the problem, he's now moving over. click again. Keep going because it could be your double. Again, look at far down. So I'm not looking at the car in front of me. I'm looking the silver car in front of the bike. That's how far down the road I'm looking. And that's how you should be driving as well in real life. Not just watching the car in front. That's too late. But there's nothing going on for me to click for. 4 out of 5. So I could improve on that. Again, let me just speed it up for the sake of the video. So there's the sign. Center lane's closed off. And then he starts to indicate, I believe. There's his indicator. Can I go it sooner? That's a bit harsh. But I'll take the 4. So let me just show you again. Indicator is where I clicked. And now he's moving. So I click again for the movement. 2 different problems, 2 different clicks. And only 4 clicks on that video in total. But like I said, if you click on things that exist, it's not a problem. It's when you click on things that don't matter, then you can have too many clicks. So that's that. Let me come out of that and see what you guys are saying. Right, nobody's making a comment. So I'm assuming that you guys are all happy with the hazard perception. I'm assuming I'm still going out live, first of all. Because I can't believe no one's making a comment on that. Yeah, so that's hazard perception. And since no one's making a comment, I'm assuming you guys are all happy, so I'm going to wrap it up there for today. Thank you for today. Appreciate you coming to the live sessions, especially Marissa. Seeing Marissa after a long time. Simply me. I'm glad you're still alive and well and kicking. For those of you who got a test coming up this week, like I always do, wish you the best of luck. Remember, when you go in there, take your time, breathe. Make sure you try and stay calm as possible. Don't panic. Read the question. Look for the clues within the questions. For those of you who got a test coming up while you're studying this week, don't be afraid to jot down any questions that you may have, concerns. Bring it to the live sessions. That's why I go live, to answer your questions personal to you. And outside of that, stay safe, more importantly, and stay dry. It's supposed to be another wet week coming up. And hopefully I'll see you guys next Sunday. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. For those of you in the boot camp, I shall see you at 1 o'clock. Take care.